So, for those of you who are here with us live, I would love to know because I get a variety of different people that come to these workshops. So, just put in, can't put it in the chat, so just put it in the Q&A box for me, an A, B, C, or D, where you are on your journey. So, are you in the thinking about it phase? Are you in the I've started phase? Are you in the I've started and I have a couple clients, but I'm making less than 2K a month consistently? Or are you already making more than 30K a year? Go ahead and put that down. So Amanda is in the thinking about it phase. Awesome. Javier is in the B. He got started. Sherry is started, but we're working on consistency of income. Brittany working on consistency of income. Helen is in the thinking about it. Angela is A.5, so she's between A and B. Yvonne thinking about it. D, you started. Maureen said I had a stellar first year and now I'm having problems getting clients. Ooh, that is interesting. That's a great question. Okay, Monica B, Lisa B. Allison started and getting calls, but no clients. That is it's usually a marketing thing. Like we can get calls, but if our marketing isn't doing the heavy lifting for us, we get calls for the wrong people. And then Josie, congratulations. Josie started and she is signing her first official client today. I think that's Josie. Yeah. I'm at the age where I can't see anything without peepers anymore. All right. So now that I know a little bit more about all of you, let's see if I can get this PowerPoint to move again. So many of you know who I am. Some of you don't know who I am. My name's Kelly Schaefer. I am the creator of the Concierge Academy, the owner of Task Complete, a 10-time award-winning concierge company. I've been a business and marketing coach since 2014. I'm a two-time certified life coach that supports both strategy and mindset. I'm a best-selling author. I'm also the author. Many of you probably have a copy of my book, The Concierge Life. I'm a mom to four. My youngest is now 19. When I started my business was 15 years ago. Like this time, 15 years ago, I had just left nursing in August. I had wanted to start my business. I had talked about starting my business, and there was, I won't go into the long story about how I ended up leaving nursing, but let's just say the universe was rearranging itself for me to want me to leave. And I put in my 2 weeks in the middle of August, and then September came around, and the first like week or so, I was chill, I was okay. I was like, well, the kids are going back to school. I'm going to do all the mom stuff. I never got to like do this mom stuff without having a regular job to go to as well. And the first is after those first 2 weeks, then all of a sudden I would sit there at my kitchen table, and I remember sitting across from my husband at the kitchen table, and I was just bawling, crying, and I was like, I have no purpose. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I literally felt like I had no purpose because I had left my career in nursing. I had the idea of starting the business, but I hadn't taken any actual steps other than just like talking about it. And he literally said to me, point blank, he said, then get off your ass and get this business started. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And to be honest, if any of you know my start story, it was pretty awful. I had a really hard time getting clients. I read all the books back in the day. There were online forums. There was like a Yahoo group. We had an association. I joined all the things. But what was terrible that I was realizing is there were all these like people who like had these businesses, and I was like looking up to them like, oh my God, they made it. They're all amazing. And then when I started having conversations with people, I was like, oh, say what? You've been in business for 7 years and you're only making, 10K a year? Like that's not going to fly. That is certainly not going to replace my nursing income. I read the books and people said go networking. So I was like, okay, I Googled what is networking. And I showed up at my first networking event. It was a dual chamber event. I was armed with my business cards. And before I walked in, I was so nervous. you see an outgoing version of me. I also have a very introverted version of me, believe it or not. And so here I was about to walk into a room full of about 100 other business owners, and outside my Honda minivan, I puked under the lights in the parking lot. I went in, that was my first networking event. I did it all wrong. And the first several months was a series of me taking a lot of action and not really seeing any results from it. And then I did end up getting my first client. My actual first client was somebody I had worked with in the past. She hired me to write a resume. Don't even ask. I was like, sure, I'll do anything. Because at the time I thought I can do anything for anyone. And over the course of my first 2 years in business, I did everything that every book told me to, from guerrilla marketing to selling to women because they're the decision makers, all these frameworks, all these philosophies, and nothing was working until I boiled it down into relationship marketing. And that is what spearheaded my growth. And then people started seeking me out like, oh my God, I've been in the industry for 10 years and I only have a handful of clients, and you've been in the industry for, 3, and you're already making, 50K a year. And what's fascinating is it took me almost 3 years, 4 years to make 50K in 1 year. And my students who are in my programs are making 40K in their first year, 20 to 40K in their first year. So other things about me, I'm obsessed with dancing, Zumba, always wanted to be an MC Hammer backup dancer. I had a conversation with my folks this morning about a big project that I'm going to be part of next year in 2026 that I'm super stoked about. I believe we are all capable of extraordinary things. I was not born into luxury. My life has evolved tremendously. The version of me the life and that I was born into is a total complete 360 of the life that I get to live now. These are some old shots in here. I totally have to update this because this guy over here with this greenish blue hair, he's now 19. He is my youngest. And so that is the family here. So just some pictures of some things that I've done, awards I've won, nonprofit things that I was part of, spearheading back to school drives, stock up for summer, food collection. This one down here on the left, when I was the first book that was a bestseller, I did a big event and invited a bunch of people from the community to come and pay to be at the event, and all the proceeds went to a women's shelter. So I've been part of not just the business community as a business owner, but also in the business community as being someone who brings back and gives back to her community. So I would love for you all to have a distraction-free zone. I know, especially today, it is so hard. Close your tabs, turn off your phone, shut down the book. Give yourself time and space and energy to focus, because you might hear one little nugget that can change everything for you. And if you are distracted or doing 100 things, you're going to miss the nugget. Okay, so let's talk about now. Let me just make sure we're good over here. You're so welcome, Javier. All right, I need to close this down for a second. Here we go. I'm gonna stop doing that because my notes, I can't see my own notes. So, yay for Kelly. All right. I promise I will not do your technology for you. Don't hire me to do your technology. Okay, so why don't websites work? And if you were listening in, so I did some preview work on the Hello from Kelly messages that I was sending out. Some of you messaged in and said thank you for them. They were really fun and inspiring and getting you prepared for today's workshop. And then that was something I wanted to do to try to build some rapport with you all before you came to today's workshop. So hopefully that was helpful. But the reason why websites don't work yet, and I'm really, really passionate about this because I did the same thing. So I told you I quit my job in the middle of August. In September, I cried. October, November were the 2 months that my husband and I spent all our nights. I even pulled it up, but I lost it because when, long story short, I had my original website for you that was on like one of those website builders. And I was going to show it to everybody, but I lost it when my computer rebooted and I can't find it. And I didn't have time to go back and find it. But it was a piece of poo, but I did it myself. My husband and I did it. Neither of us are computer people. And I spent those 2 months thinking because all the books that I read, all the articles I read, it was like, get build a website, hang flyers everywhere, and get business cards made. And I hung flyers everywhere, and all I got were very unkind solicitations or people who wanted to work for me. The website didn't do anything. And then the business cards, my first 2 or 3 rounds of business cards were pretty terrible. But the reason why websites don't work, especially in the initial part, is because people are often not Googling concierge. So in the industry, we use some industry speak, right? We might use concierge, senior concierge, even like care management services, downsizing expert, professional organizer. Organizers, I think that term is a little more well known. But still, a lot of people aren't going to Google to find help to do those things. They might know the term home care, but they might not know the term personal concierge, senior concierge. So when we put up these websites, we think that the website is going to be the thing that feeds us all the traffic and feeds us clients. But the website doesn't actually feed them to you. The website is like a storefront and you have to still get people to go to the storefront. So that's why putting your time and effort into websites in the beginning is a really terrible, terrible waste of time and money in the very beginning. The other reason why websites don't work right away, where did my slides go? Oh, there we go, is because browsers aren't necessarily buyers. So this was something I had to learn the hard way, and even members of my community have learned this the hard way. So once you get a website up there, you'll start like watching traffic. Oh, I had 52 people come to my website this month, or I had 18 people come to my website this month. And I am going to tell you, first of all, there's a lot of robots and spam that go to people's websites, and they'll get to your website before anybody, a buying, hiring client will ever get to your website. I get so much spam that I have plugins on my websites that just hide all that stuff, but there's so much crap because there's all these bots that are out there. So we think that we're getting traffic, and in reality, the truth is that it's a lot of spam, it's a lot of bots, it's you going to your website. If you go to your website 50 times this month and you have 58 visitors to your website, 50 of those is actually you. We don't think about these things when we put up the website. And then another thing that a lot of people have learned in the industry is a lot of traffic is other industry folks who are going lurking and checking and what you're pricing and what are you saying? And some of them will literally copy word for word. So what happens is a bunch of people come into the industry, they start their businesses, they create websites, and then a lot of people will go and see, what does so-and-so say? What did so-and-so say? And then most of the websites out there all look and sound exactly the same. And I do not want your websites to look and sound the same. The other thing too is early websites lack the ingredients to build trust. So here's the thing. We build a website, we have our storefront, we put the thing out there, but you're just putting the website up there. You don't have stories yet. You don't have testimonials. You don't have case studies of working with this client or that client. And what happens is this website ends up being really like generic. You want to have clarity of who your clients are versus you just somebody stumbling onto your website. And what happens is in the beginning, you don't really know exactly like, especially for those of you who are like in that A and B phase that we talked about when you first came in, a lot of you don't know exactly who it is that you want to work with. So same thing for me. I was going to do, I thought I could be everything to everyone. Of course, everybody needs help around the house. Of course, everybody needs help running their errands. But then when it's everybody and you put that on the website, people can't see themselves in your services. People can't, there's something to be said about specificity, right? So for example, many years ago when I moved to this area from Philadelphia, I had a hairdresser and I had cut my hair. I used to have long hair, believe it or not, and I was at like this length, and the older I get, the shorter I get, but my hair was about this length. And so I was trying to find a hairdresser in my area. Of course, if I Googled hairdressers in my area, there were like 50 within a 5-minute car drive, exaggerating a little bit. But I started calling around and I was calling and I was asking specifically, do you have anyone who works specifically with curly, short hair? Because that is what I needed, because not everybody knows how to cut curly, short hair. So when people are coming to your website, if it's really generic and you're just, what happens is that your website will end up being just a copy again of everybody else's. And I'm going to explain this in a little bit more detail. So 4 mistakes that newbies make with the websites is first, believing that the website is their first step and your main place that your clients will come from, and that's not true. I have multiple members in my communities that are booking clients left and right. Many of them don't even have a website. And the ones that do have a website, that's not where their clients are coming from. Their clients are coming from the exact strategies I'm giving you today. You don't know your clients yet, so it equals vague messaging, right? So it's I help seniors versus I help seniors who live blah, blah, blah in this area and need these things. And this is what I offer. And this is what I provide. And this is how people hire me, right? Once you start actually having lived client experiences, like our friend today who said they just signed their first client and somebody else said that they started, but they're not making money consistently. You're starting to get experience though from the actual client exchange. You learn more each client you work with. That's why we don't do website first. We get clients first, because then when you work with clients, then the messaging on your website is not as vague. When you haven't worked with clients, you don't actually know what their problems are that you are there to solve. And what happens is your website will just look like a checklist of tasks. It actually took me years to even figure this part out. I was doing a lot of marketing and I was doing well, but one day I had an epiphany where I was just like, oh, I keep trying to sell the task, not the problem that I solve. And when I started to shift and look at all of my marketing from this new perspective, that's when things really started to change for me. And I'll speak for myself too. I was a nurse who worked in healthcare. I worked in inner city hospitals and I started a business. I didn't know how to talk about business or what I did in like human terms. I was using like speak, 30-second pitches and trying to give my business cards to all these people and using industry speak. I don't know if you've ever worked, I mean, and this happens in all industries. It's not just our industry, but people who are in a specific industry, when they're trying to sell services that they provide within that industry, they accidentally end up using industry speak all the time because it's something they're familiar with. It's like you hire the electrician, right? Because you need them to fix the wiring, right? But then instead of them talking about fixing the wiring, they're talking about knob and tube and the gauge of the wires and the outlets and what they do and so forth. And so if they were to talk about electrical work like that, people would just glaze over, and we all do this. So we want to learn how to talk about what it is that we do in simple human terms. So websites aren't bad, they just come later. Once you know your people, your value, your message, then a website can then amplify trust. But your first clients will most likely come from connection, relationships and connection, not the computer or pixels. Okay. So then what are the strategies that we can use? So if you buy into, okay, I'm going to put the website over on the side. I'm going to listen to somebody who has 15 years experience, and not only my own experience, but in coaching hundreds of people in the industry over the past 11 years. You go, okay, I'm going to put the website over here. Then what is it that you need to do? Strategy number one is networking, but it needs to be networking that works. Networking is not, pull us back over here because we're going to hop over. Okay, networking is not, and what it is, because again, I think people get it confused. I know I was very confused about it as well. So, networking is not making it up as you go along. It's also not a half-baked thought process. It's also, this is what I did at that event, that first December, throwing business cards at people. I'm being a little cheeky, but you know what I mean. Networking is not talking about your services in a way that creates confusion. Fix this. There we go. Okay? Because what happens is, I'll speak for myself again. When I went out networking and I would tell people that I was a personal concierge, their eyes would kind of glaze over. They had no idea what that was. They would say, "Oh, do you work in a hotel?" And I'd be like, "Oh, no." And then there was a big like phase in the industry where we started using the term lifestyle management expert, chaos coordinators, and all these like cutesy fun terms glazed over. People didn't actually know what I did. And our networking isn't just about getting people to hire you directly. Your networking is also to help get referrals, which is what we'll talk about next. But so what networking is, it's building real connection. That lead to clients. And we often overlook this because we're in a business like thought process. And so that's why we go to We go to website because we're thinking business. Website, flyers, business cards versus real connection, real relationships, building know, like, and trust. It's the old know, like, and trust factor, right? Been around forever and it will stay around forever because people don't do business with people that they don't know, like, and trust, right? So people who come to my programs in the beginning, sometimes they don't always know me, but they get to know me. Some people will like me. They'll like my energy, my aura, my personality, my spunk, right? My tell it like it is personality, my let's dive in, roll up the sleeves and fix shit. Some people don't like that. That's okay because then they're not my ideal clients. And trust, people won't join my programs until they feel like I can trust. I can trust her. I can trust the 15 years of experience that she had. I can trust myself doing the work. So this is what the know, like, and trust really is. So networking is real connection. It's being intentional about where you are showing up to talk about your services, right? So we don't want it to be a half-baked thought process. We want it to be intentional. We want you to share your business that sparks curiosity and, again, trust. And we're going to talk about one of the easiest ways to build trust a little bit later in our presentation. And then what networking also is cultivating relationships. That once you cultivate these relationships, doors will then become naturally open and lead you into referrals. Okay. So here is where you could be getting it wrong. Okay. So where you may be getting it wrong, so maybe you're out there doing the networking, or maybe you haven't even begun yet. Maybe what you're doing is you're showing up without a strategy. Maybe you're trying to look professional instead of relatable. And you could be struggling to say what it is that you do clearly, right? As well as any of these here. Maybe you're making it up as you go along. Maybe it's been a half-baked thought process. Maybe you're just showing up giving business cards to people thinking that that is supposed to magically turn into business. Maybe you're talking about your services that's creating more confusion than clarity. My first client, so I told you about my very first client. I got paid $75 to do a resume. I can't even tell you how many hours I spent doing it. And then I actually asked my friend, because I hadn't written a resume in a bajillion years, I asked her to help me. It was terrible. But that was my very first client. My very first real client, who was a real ideal client, came from a networking relationship. That client didn't come from the networking because that client was not part of the business world. I didn't find my first client, Jamie and Brian, they were a couple. I didn't find them at a networking event. But from my networking strategy and building know, like, and trust and building relationships, that one request, what happened was they were looking for help. Somebody referred me. They hired me to come in and be there when the pool table guys were coming because it was downstairs. They had a beautiful townhome. It had to go downstairs in really tight quarters. I was there to be there for them when the pool table delivery was coming and being put together. That one request turned into 3 years of consistent weekly work from nurturing relationships because I was doing it in the right way. Strategy number 2 is referrals and relationships because the networking, right? When we're doing this right, it will lead into referrals. So referrals, what referrals are not is random. It just happened to me. They're not actually random. We think sometimes they happen to us and we think that they're random, but they're not actually random. Referrals are not dropping hints. Referrals are not asking once and not following up. Referrals are not relying solely on friends and family. Referrals are also not I'm putting punch cards here just as more of like a global like punch cards, like giving people a card to refer you with, or it's not like buy three, get one for free. It's not the referral punch card that I get when I go to the one place. I go to a very bougie place for massages, and then I also go to the non-bougie place for more frequent massages, just for the massage itself. And then I go to the fancy place for when I want to have full total melting relaxation. The non-bougie place has the little card, right? That if I bring in a new customer, I get, 50% off of my next massage. When I have 10 massages, I get $5 off my 11th massage. Right? That is not what referrals are. Okay. And I have seen so many things that people try to put in place for referrals that just don't work. What referrals are, whoop, is they are curated and intentional. If you've ever heard me talk about, people talk about wanting to get word of mouth and get referrals, and referrals often people are consider they think it's passive. Like you just wait to get a referral. In reality, referrals are actually active. Referrals are the result of building relationships. Referrals are also about clarity of who to refer to you. So people you meet, if they don't know who to refer to you and you don't know what to tell them, that impacts the frequency of the referrals you get. And it also impacts, I don't want to say the word quality of the referrals because that's not the word I want to use. I want to say more like the accuracy of the referrals, the right fitness of the referrals. So for example, let's say you work with seniors and you do not offer any type of home care services. You don't drive people, you don't do medications, you don't do bathing. What you do is you do companionship, you do stuff around the house, you do dishes, you change out the light bulbs, you keep them company. That's different, right? But if you're not clear in what it is that you're doing and you're not active about your referral process, then what happens is you may end up with the referrals you do get are for the clients that you don't necessarily want. They're not the right fit for you versus the clients that you do want. So you have to be clear first. And then it's your job to nurture and educate people. That's why it's an active process, not a passive process, so that they understand it's about clarity so they know who to refer to you. I see this in every industry out there. I had a friend one time who's a coach, and every 6 months they changed who they were coaching. First, it was like divorced women, and then it was single parents, and then it was all of a sudden they changed it and they were like helping people do business. And no, I was like, I could never possibly refer you because first of all, you keep changing your mind. How am I supposed to know who it is you actually work with? So what happens is when you start, and even if you've got a couple clients, but you don't have the consistency that you want. I see this happen a lot where people will then change the who instead of their marketing, right? They go, oh, well, where I live, there's not enough of seniors. So I'm going to switch to busy people. Or I want to work with seniors, but they're on fixed incomes and you're not getting any clients because you're not marketing successfully. You're not marketing correctly. So, but you want to work with seniors. So then you say things like, they're on a fixed income. Nobody can afford my services, which is not true. Yes, there are people who won't be able to afford your services, and there are plenty of people who can afford your services. That's what an ideal client is. It's somebody who needs what you offer, who wants what you offer. It's a match to the services you are going to offer and have the means to pay for it or will find a way to pay for it. That is an ideal client fit. So what happens is when you're not getting a lot of clients, we'll do what's called niche swapping. So then all of a sudden, I've seen this happen so many times. People, I'll say, come join the program, come join me in Fully Booked, and I will help you work through this over the course of the next year so that you are getting consistent clients. And then they'll say, I don't have the money. I'm going to shift my niche to C-level executives because in their brain, they're thinking, oh, C-level executives have more money to pay. But it wasn't that wasn't the root problem. The problem was that it was your marketing wasn't bringing in the right people. All right, and then referrals are also a system you can count on. We just did this last week in our monthly workshop inside Fully Booked. We were talking about the layers of marketing and looking at it from, we started mapping out like Q4 and then Q1 of 2026, Q2, Q3. And we just started mapping it all out and we started layering. And then one of the layers was the referrals and like, when do the referrals happen? When are they going to happen? How are they going to happen? What's that look like in the overall scheme of your business from a marketing perspective? So it's a system you can count on versus a one-time thing. Okay. Is this good for you all? Is everybody getting something out of this so far? My ink is running. My ink is getting lower. All right, I'll do my best. It's because I keep the lid off. So this says system you can count on versus a one-time thing. All right, awesome. Maybe I'll switch to a different color. This way it won't be as dried out. All right, let's see. Come back here. All right, friends, back here. Here we go. So where you may be getting it wrong, we said this, waiting for referrals to happen, assuming people will remember you, and not making it simple to pass along your name. And part of that, the biggest part of that, really is that clarity piece that we were talking about, right? Like I have plenty of people that I know that have businesses, but it's hard for me to refer them because they're always changing their mind. Or one day they're posting that they're a coach, the next day they're booking travel, the next thing they're helping businesses run retreats, the next thing, so they're constantly changing their mind, which makes it hard. It's like you're making it work. You want to take out the work for people to give you referrals. You want to make it super easy for people to pass referrals on to you versus making them have to do all the hard lifting. You're so welcome, Maureen. Javier, yeah, the website, right? And if you listen to, this is to Javier, in the audios that I did this week, I dropped one yesterday about like when should you, quote unquote, should. I don't believe in shoulds for anybody, but when should you have a website? And my recommendation is that you can be working on it. It's like work on it over here on the side. The same thing with insurance. Some people say, "Well, I can't start my business until I get insurance. I can't um I won't join your program until I get insurance." And I'm like, get insurance. Some people make it out to be like a 6 month deal, right? It's not a 6 month deal. Get insurance is literally an item on your to-do list. You call some brokers, you make some brokers find the insurance for you, right? So it's like sometimes there are things in our business. This is for every business at every level of your business, even at the multiple six-figure level. There are things in your business that you're over here improving or tweaking or starting over here while you're spending the most of your time, the majority of your time here. So for back to Javier's question about the website, sure, start the website over here, but don't delay starting your business till the website's live. That's what I did. Don't delay in going out and talking to people before the website's live. Go talk to the people, and as you're gaining knowledge and you're working with clients, in the meantime, you can be picking out your logo and your pretty colors and the fonts and maybe the template that you want to use. And if you're not building it yourself and you're going to hire someone, interview some people that you want to maybe build that for you. And also, I said in the audio yesterday, like it was actually my husband. My husband built it, and I sat next to him, telling him all the things he was doing wrong. Mind you, the plug and play things that are available now are much easier and user friendly and intuitive to use compared to the one that we originally used. But what I did is we did that for 2 years. That was my website. It was crazy. The background of it looked like a cork board. It had I thought it was cool. I mean, it was kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie, but it didn't actually bring me any clients. It had like post-it notes on it with the little pins in it that was like run your errands and organize your closet. And I don't even remember specifically, but it was like that's what it looked like. Super fun, wasn't generating any clients. So as I was getting clients, then I was stashing money away from the money that I was making in real time. I was putting money away, kind of like layaway. I was building my website on layaway. So I was stashing cash over here while I was getting clients to then take that money. And then 2 years later, I paid somebody to build a website for me. And I think at the time, 2012, it was about $2,500. And but then that's the thing, right? Then we publish it and we think that's it. We just published it out into the world and we're done with it. And we're not. 100K Club last month, we do systems creation calls once a month in 100K Club. You have to be making 40K or more a year. And what we worked on last month was websites. And it was so funny. Like everybody was like in shame, oh, for shame, right? Of like the set it and forget it. And we worked on setting up systems to make sure that that doesn't happen so that the website itself works as optimally as it can, um, versus just setting it and forgetting it. Okay. Uh, Yeah, so that's it, Javier. You want to think of it like a catalog style, right? And that's what most websites in this industry end up sort of looking like, is kind of like a catalog style. Um, exactly, the 1090. You must have listened to that call. Good for you. Okay, let's keep going. Make sure I am not mixing this up. Okay, so referrals. So this is Loretta. She has been in my world since 2019. And in 2019 and the beginning of 2020, she had been following me online. She bought my book. She came to some of my free workshops. She took a lot of notes. She was going out there, quote unquote, networking. She was networking a lot, but it was not converting into paying clients. And so I was like, okay, I see you're putting in the reps over here, but you're not putting in the reps over here. I was like, find a way, get inside the program. I'm going to help you do this. She was like, okay. It was really hard for her. She joined. This was during 2020. She enrolled. It was, I had an enrollment. It was April 2020. So many people were getting ready to close down their businesses. People were terrified. I was like, not on my watch. We're not doing this. Nobody's going down on my watch. And that year, she made 55K in that year. And within 3 years, making 200K, all through referrals. Because she was doing the networking, but she was missing the next piece. So when we think that it comes from other areas, this is where it mostly comes from. And she has the website, she's got the social media, she was doing all the other things, but the clients, where they came from referrals, from building know, like, and trust with the people that she had been networking with consistently for a while, because that was the part she was doing right. She just didn't know the piece after that. Which is why, if any of you, so I know some of my students come onto these workshops also, and if you enroll, for those of you who are going to enroll in Fully Booked, we have a module in there that's all about organic referrals. And we go through there and I show you exactly how to set up these referral systems that work. I give you languaging to use, how to ask without feeling awkward and salesy, and help you build those relationships and who to build those relationships with intentionally, so that you are getting the clients that you actually want, not just these like one-off kind of clients. All right, strategy number 3, visibility through storytelling. So let's talk about visibility. Because again, people get visibility confused. Come over here. All right, so I'm going to drop this Q&A box too for a second, and I'll come back to it. Okay, visibility is not trying to use social media and thinking that that's where all your clients are coming from. Whether you're on one platform or all the platforms. This is what is called the post and pray approach, right? People post something on social media and they pray it's going to work. And they post something and then they pray it's going to work. And once in a while, it does actually work. It does. I'm not poo-pooing all social media. But social media without a strategy behind it. Now, social media people will tell you, oh, you have to post consistently and you got to take these frameworks and you have to post these things and you got to do 50 reels in 30 days and all this spiely kind of crap. Again, I'm going to tell you, it's a bunch of nonsense. The people that are telling you that you have to do social media are people who want to sell you social media. The same with people who tell you you have to have a website, or the people who are trying to sell you a website. I am going to tell you, you have to be marketing. If you're not marketing, which is talking to people, teaching people how to hire you or refer you, and being visible in your community, Yes, those things you have to do. You can't just sit behind your computer and pray. So we can't just use social media because we hide behind these things too. It's easier to put something on social media and just go, and then we go run and hide versus going out there and like talking to strangers, especially again, you see the extroverted side of Kelly. You do not see the shut down introverted side of me. I still to this day am shut down and am introverted in new places and new groups that I have not been before. I am literally the girl who wants to hide in the corner, believe it or not. But visibility, social media, it's easy, right? We don't have to have time, we don't have to show our faces. We could just post it and let it go, right? And the reality is 90% of the people you think are seeing it aren't seeing it. I have so many followers and about a fraction, like 15 people are seeing stuff out of 5,000, right? This is the post and pray. That is not what visibility is. Visibility is also not spending weeks or months working on the website, the logo, the graphics. Look, there is something to be said about having a little bit of, if you want, and it's not even required. I have somebody in 100K club right now. She's making over $200,000 a year. She has no social media. She has no website. She doesn't have a brand, right? When we think of branding, there is something to be said about like some cohesiveness. Is cohesive would be like you use blue and white and brown, right? Versus one day I'm blue, one day I'm brown, one day it's yellow, one day it's purple, right? That's some cohesiveness. But you don't have to have these really like expert brands. The brand is actually you. You are the brand, not the colors of your logos. Also, visibility is not paying for ads and thinking one ad is going to somehow blow up your business. It's not. It's just not. I've paid for ads. I have paid for the welcome wagon baskets. I have paid for sponsorships. I have not paid for, because I know they don't work, um, the golf signs. I don't know if any of you, I'll never forget that somewhere, I don't know, it was a few years into my business. I got a phone call and it's like, yeah, hey there, I'm trying to reach Kelly. It's Brian over here at the such and such country club. We wanted to talk to you about your concierge services. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the moment I've been waiting for. Yes, I'll never forget. I'm in my car. I think I had just had a conversation with, it was a realtor or a money manager. I can remember the parking lot I was sitting in. And I'm on the phone. I'm like, yes, how can I help you? And they're like, yeah. So a service like business like yours, we think you would do really great in our XYZ ad book that we have over here at the so and so country club. And as part of your partnership with us, you'll be featured in a 2x4 space in the middle of the book that we're going to leave in the waiting area of the country club because we know that your ideal clients are coming to our country club. And at first I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm going to get in front of all these people who have money and who, probably need help and all this stuff. And then I sat there one day and I was like, wait a minute. If if I was going to a country club, am I sitting there looking through the little things? Even when you go to like the local theaters and so forth, and you have the little books where everybody, people do, put their ads in there. I mean, are you looking at those things? I don't know. I don't look at those things. And if I do look in those things, I'm not like at the show looking through it, being like, oh my God, so and so accountant. I think I need him. I think I need her. That's not it, right? That's not like we think that that's going to work, and then who they are selling us on that that's what it's going to work. I know I'm dramatic. Visibility is moved my notes here too far. Being findable and relatable. Visibility is also showing people your heart and why you care. We think it's branding colors and it's your heart. We think it's ads and it's being relatable. Visibility is also building trust. Right? We said before, know, like, and trust. And the way we build trust is through consistency of, write this one down, friends, clarity versus consistency of content. Right? You can be posting, let's just say you use social media. You can be consistent and be posting on social media every day for 5 days. So you're consistency in your content. But if every day you're saying something new and it's not clear and the person who's reading it doesn't know who it's actually for, that's not going to work. So you want consistency of clarity, not content. Okay, here we go. Back to our little slide board. You all see my screen again? I think you can. Okay. So where you may be getting this visibility part wrong is you might be being visible, but not clear. You may be listing tasks, which makes it look like gig work versus showing people your heart and why you care and what you really do, right? We talked about like the problem with the website is it ends up being just a list of things versus like the impact you're actually having for your clients and for your clients' families too. And visibility, you may be holding back everyday stories and defaulting to generic posting. Okay. So what connected me to people wasn't logos or websites. It was the stories that I started to tell. And I think this comes naturally. I should say, it comes more natural to some people than it does to others. Which is why in Fully Booked, we talk about storytelling a lot in a lot of different ways. Because storytelling, when it's done right, will be transformational and it will completely transform your marketing versus just this task listy way that you're doing your marketing. So there are 3 story types when it comes to your visibility. You can write those down while I grab some water. It's your joy story, a transformation story, and a why story. Right, let me pull this over here. Let me just make sure I have my, okay. Oh. All right, pull that down. All righty. So, what are joy, transformation, and why? Joy is you showing the heart of your work. It's literally your joy in what it is that you do. So if I'm, I'm a coach, right? And if I am telling a story and I'm like, yeah, the people who come in my programs, I teach them some stuff, right? I help them market, I help them network, help them with their pricing, teach them how to follow up, created some stuff, right? That's almost like that task listy version versus like I absolutely love what I get to do because I watch people come in confused, uncertain, not sure, overwhelmed, stuck, and they come in and they get coached, they get the resources, they learn how to become a marketer. And by being a marketer, it doesn't mean building websites and having copy and being a copywriter. Marketing is these things. It is relationship building. I teach relationship and nurture marketing. And then, yes, of course, we have some social media stuff. We have systems over here. We can build the websites over here, but I lead with it from a different perspective. And I absolutely love it. I love every win that a client has. I have multiple people in our fully booked business club right now who started 6 months ago and they're booked out because they came in, they follow the recipe that I give them, they make it work for them and their clients and their niche and their location and their availability. So I have one person right now that I'm thinking of. I coached her yesterday and she is at her fully booked mark. Her fully booked mark though is billing 12 to 13 hours a week because she also works over here part-time. So her fully booked looks different than somebody else who does not have another outside job, doesn't have other maybe outside responsibilities, and has the availability to work billable hours in their business 30, 40 hours a week. For her, she is fully booked, and that's what she wanted to create. Now she's stepping into letting go of the side work that she's doing with the other job that she has so that because now she knows how to bring clients in, she knows how to do it consistently, very easily, none through a website. And now then she'll be able to open another day on her schedule. So then she'll be able to bill more, right? That's a joy story. Like telling story from the heart of the work that you provide. I also just gave you an example of a transformation story. Oh, I forget who told me my black marker was running out. I'm going to go back to blue. Transformation story. A transformation story is simply what it was like before and now. Okay. And this wasn't something that came natural to me, even as I was learning it. When I was learning it, I was always thinking of, you start your business. And for example, Naima, right? Naima from years ago, if you've ever seen her, some of my videos with her, she came in, she had been in business for over a year, made $0. She joined my program. Within that first year, she made, I think it was 40, somewhere, but I think it was 45 or 50K. I think this was back in like 2019. That following year, she doubled, right? So to me, that was easy for my brain to understand, like a transformation. $0 to $50,000. That was the transformation. What I started to learn though is there's other forms of transformation. It's not always just money related. But I didn't know this when I was trying to use this strategy in my own marketing. So I just got stuck on it. So other transformations could be, for example, one of my earlier clients was a single dad. The transformation story for him that I could tell was he was a single dad who owns his own business, ran a very successful home care agency, had two kids that were both in middle school, and at the end of the day was tired, exhausted, and always came home to an empty refrigerator. And he hired me to come in to do the grocery shopping and to always have food in the house so that when he came home from work, he was able to, he had the food in the fridge. He was able to cook dinner and sit down and spend time with his kids having a family meal together. That was a transformation story. versus me saying, I can run errands for you, go grocery shopping for you, and put your food away. Y'all getting that? Is that like, are y'all getting that? I think I dropped my screen down here. Yes? Okay, thank you for the raised hands. Awesome. So there are transformation stories in all of our businesses, in all of your businesses. It's about figuring out how to do that, how to take what might almost feel right. This used to be something I used to struggle with all the time. I used to be like, but I don't know how to sell the intangibles, right? Like there's tangible results and there's untangible or intangible results. And I didn't know how to talk about those. And really, this was it. And then once I started doing one or two, it became so natural, so easy for me. And I do this for our clients inside our programs. I help retell their stories in a transformational way so that they can go out then and use it. And then the why story is very simple. Why? Why are you doing what it is that you do? Why do you want to work with those certain people? What's the problem you saw? What is the need that you saw? What is, for people who work with seniors, maybe you've seen what it's like to live, to have somebody taken from their home and how they don't do well when they go into a nursing home. Or maybe you have witnessed, you've had somebody in your family who you had home care come in for them and the care that you were getting, they were getting, was not top tier care. And maybe you saw a gap in the marketplace. Maybe you were the busy mom who was juggling all the things. You decided to start a business. Maybe you're just like, I have a member inside Fully Booked Business Club right now. She emailed me last week. She's been in Fully Booked for 2 years, 2 years, and she's ready to come into 100K club. And she literally, her message to me said something as simple as, I thought I had to do all these other things, and I realized I just love all things related to the house. I love this shit. And I was like, yes, you do. So like keeping the house organized, meal prepping, meal planning, cooking. She offers meals now to some of her clients. Once a week, she has like this whole meal menu thing that she's created. It's amazing. You actually get to build a business that you love, doing work that you want to do. I think that was secretly part of my something that held me back in my business in the very beginning is when I left my job to start the business, I feel like I was running from something. So my why at the time was more tangled up in, I don't want to go back there. So that's not what I was saying externally, but internally, that's what I felt. Like, I don't want to have to go back. Don't make me. And so that fear, I think, secretly trickled into my marketing. Versus when I started working with clients, and even in the beginning, I didn't even see my own worth and value. I literally was like, oh, I just run errands for people. Oh, I just like for my client with the two kids, the single dad. I just, I do his grocery shopping and then, I buy bulk meat for him and I portion size it and I put it in the freezer for him and I'm always rotating the pantry and, I schedule the dog to go to the groomers once every, 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, and it's on my calendar and yeah, like that's what I thought I was actually doing versus me even learning to live in the transformation myself, working with my clients, and then it started to stoke my why. If you're feeling stuck or stagnant, you got to stoke your why. Like, why are you doing this? And my encouragement is to have it be something that pulls you towards something versus running away from something. Okay, so I want you to take a minute right now and jot down for yourself. You don't have to put it in the chat or anything, but just jot down for yourself real quick one story idea that you might have right now. Okay. Right. Did everybody give me a little raise hand if you jotted something down for yourself. All right, we got 4 people raise their hand. Awesome. Okay, so this is what I want you all to start focusing your marketing time on, because everything is going to cost you either in money, time, and your energy. So if you have a finite amount of time, money, or energy, I want you to put it into these things, because these are the things that are going to bring the majority of your clients to you. Again, the social media can enhance, the website may enhance. Those things are not the primary drivers. Okay. Okay. So let me pull up my next and notesy poos. Okay. So those are the 3 ways to get clients without a website: your networking, your referrals, and your visibility, and then enhance that visibility through your storytelling. Now, the truth is, what I shared with you today works 100%. You could take this and start applying it all by yourself right now on your own. And I also want you to consider that if you've been trying this for a while, or you already know how easy it is to get stuck in like this trial error overwhelm, that you consider joining us in our Fully Booked Business Club so that you don't have to figure it out yourself anymore. And I have some slides here that I'm going to pull up for you. So Fully Booked, I want you to know too, some of you we've already gotten some questions about who it's for. So Fully Booked is my signature program that takes you from starting, foundation, and growth. The scaling happens in 100K Club. So that's why you have to be making a certain amount of money to come into 100K Club. That's not what we're enrolling for right now. If that's you, you can send me an email and we'll talk to you about when 100K Club. We have secret enrollment happening right now for 100K Club. We already have 6 people enrolled for next year. We've got 6 spots left. But that's not what we're working on today. Today is about Fully Booked Business Club and how Fully Booked Business Club helps you get fully booked in 3 times faster, 5 times faster than if you were to try to do this on your own. Let me pull this up because I know people, where'd my screen go here? These little thingies all over the place. Okay. It's over so I don't miss anything. All right. Oh, I have to share. Let's go. Thank you all. Here we go. Back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so Oh my goodness, I'm hitting the wrong thing. Lordy, lordy. Are we getting it? Okay, finally. Okay, here we go. So, for those of you who want to know what's next, Fully Booked Business Club, we're opening for enrollment today. If you're on the wait list, you already got an email. For those of you who are attending with us live, you can open your email right now. There is an email that was sent to your inbox that has a lot of the details in it. But if you're anybody like me, I like to see things. I need to, like, I'm a tactile learner. So I want to take you through what you get as part of the program. So what you'll get inside Fully Booked Business Club. Weekly group coaching calls every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. So that's for the all year. Monthly hands-on workshops where you apply what you're learning. So there's one thing to go and learn and read, and then there's also something to be said about sitting down and doing the work. You have access to the entire Fully Booked Business Club marketing course. It's the full system on marketing to go from your first dollars to your first 50K. And then, in truth be told, it's the same marketing that you use to go to multiple six figures, but multiple six figures, we put a different spin on it because now you're scaling. The modules and the marketing course, I'm going to show you what that is later. It has to do with networking, how to follow up, referrals. There is a module on social media. There is a module on website for when you are building it so that you're building it the right way. And it has all the most important components for people to actually pick up the phone, because you can have a website and the people land on your website and then they just back out versus actually picking up the phone and calling you. I show you how to make sure that your website is built so that people call you. There is also a course in there for email marketing when you become more advanced. You don't need that in the beginning, but it is there for you. And if you work with seniors, there's a specialty course in there that has to do with marketing and working with seniors. Yeah. Okay. Also, inside the program, you will also get scripts, templates, consult guides, and every piece of marketing that I've created, emails, sales letters, referral letters, all of it is available for you inside the program. I hold nothing back. A private community so that you can grow with others who get it. Also, you have access to ask questions 24/7. It's an open Facebook group, open meaning private, open Facebook group just for our community. And I am in there Monday through Friday answering questions as questions come up. Special senior market training. If you serve seniors, we've totally got you covered because that's one of my secret favorite niches. The Fully Booked Business Club workbook, that becomes your step-by-step guide, and you print it and you have it, and then that becomes your marketing. Never on a Monday do you sit there and look at your computer and be like, what do I have to do today? What should I be doing today? Every day of every week after week, we have weekly tasks, monthly tasks, quarterly tasks that you want to be working on. All of that is inside the workbook that you can just work along with it. When you join, you also get pay in full. People who pay in full, we had somebody who already paid in full earlier today, get the contract bundle, the entire contract bundle, which is different than the starter kit. The starter kit is more of like the onboarding new clients, getting insurance, getting started. The contract bundle is all of the contracts that you want to have in place for your business. Simple contract, complex contract, credit card authorization forms, and other contracts that are specific to this type of industry. You get them all for free. It's a $4.97 value. It sells on my website for $4.97. You get it for free when you choose to pay in full. You'll also get a ticket to our live in-person experience that's happening October 23rd. It's all paid for you. You just have to get your butt here and it's an in-person retreat. We're going to be working all day on marketing in real time. We're going to be working on your marketing. It's not just come and listen to me stand up in the front of the class. It's going to be real time around with other people in the community, getting to build relationships with other people in the community, learning from people who are further than you and then being able to help lift people up who are not as far along as you. It's an amazing experience. You'll also get access to the Fully Booked by Design course that I've been secretly working on behind the scenes since January. And this is a special training that's coming out this fall. And it's about marketing the way that you are actually naturally wired. I can't go into the details about that right now, but that is an extra added value that is literally going to blow your mind. So for those of you that are here, does anybody based in the UK, how will this program align with my environment? It is international. We have clients in Australia, Spain. I had somebody who was in the program a couple years ago who was in the UK who did very well. And we have Canada. We have a lot of Canadians here. The things I will say about if you're international, what might change. So if I say join your Chamber of Commerce, you might not have a Chamber of Commerce. Yours might look different, right? So, but those are things you just bring to me and I help you work through those things. The other thing with being international is the time, right? So you just have to consider the time difference of our live calls and trainings. Some people are on the call, it might be 4 a.m. for you, and we're having a call, that's 10 a.m. or it's 4 p.m. for us, and you're on a call at 10 p.m. Just know that in advance and just intentionally decide what calls you're going to be on live. And then otherwise, you can also be team replay. Everything is recorded and put into our private customer hub. That's where you will access everything. So all calls are recorded. You also have access when you enroll. You'll also have access to 3 years of backed open Q&A calls, 2022, 2023, 2024, that literally anything you could possibly think of, you could probably watch a Q&A call and get all of your answers from that. You don't have to, but those are there too. Some people like to put it on when they're driving, when they're in their car, when they're cleaning up their house, when they're outside going for walks. They like to just listen to the teachings and the coaching because it always opens up other ideas for them. All right, let's see. What is next? Okay, I also have some more bonuses for you. Anybody listening? I love this slide. Okay, in addition to the core pieces of the program and the bonuses, you're also going to get the storytelling workshop we have on October 30th. It's a bonus workshop that we're going to do. It's for 2 hours. I believe it's 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. You'll get all the details in your welcome email when you enroll. We are going to work on these 3 stories as a group so that you can do it in real time, and you'll get to share with members in the group and in the community. And if you're stuck, you'll have me to help guide you through it, and I will help you learn how to turn all your stories into really good marketing. Another bonus for this enrollment is we also have our business planning retreat for 2026. It is January 5th. It is online. I believe the time is 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. I think but it's somewhere around there. It's almost a full day. That's our business planning retreat. We do that every year in January, and we plan out your marketing for the entire year. Everything from marketing goals, client goals, money goals, price increases. If you're doing price increases that year, we plan all that out in January so that your business is running proactively versus a reactive business. Because a lot of people get stuck because they're always in reaction. It's like, I don't have enough clients. Now what do I do? Right? Versus I know how to constantly be warming up and bringing new leads into my business. And I just keep doing this. I follow this recipe. The clients keep coming in over here. Right. Also, also, if you enroll today by 10 p.m., we also have a couple more super, super juicy bonuses. You get a private strategy call with me where we're going to map out your next steps. So if you're brand new, I will give you like, this is where you're going to start and this is what you're going to focus on for your first 90 days. And if you are already in business, then we're going to map out what your clearest next steps are for that next level of growth that you're looking for. If you've got a couple clients, but you've got one-off clients and you need consistency, or you have clients that are only calling you once in a while, we're going to work on that first, and then we're going to work on bringing in consistent income. That's what we'll do during your strategy call. And then also I have a total of 8 swag bags. 2 are already gone. So once those 8 are gone, they're gone. 2 are already gone, so I've got 6 left. So the next 6 people who enroll will get the swag bag. It is a tote bag with a journal, and I will ship it to your house, even if you're in the UK. All right, let's see. Okay, so who is Fully Booked Business Club for? It is for you if you're making under 40K and you know you haven't nailed your marketing yet. You want consistent 2K plus months, not as a dream like someday, but as your new normal. You want clear step-by-step guidance instead of guessing or piecing it all together. This today is just a fraction of what we do together as a community over the course of an entire year. You want clear step-by-step guidance. You want simple human marketing that works for concierge style services, not influencers. You all do not have to be influencers. You don't have to make reels. You don't have to point at bubbles to get clients. And that's not what I teach. If you want to know how to do 30 reels in 30 days, I am not your teacher for that. I am going to teach you how to market in the easiest, simplest way to take what it is that you love doing and helping people out in your community. That is what I'm here to help you do. And you're ready to do the work, because there is work involved. You do have to do the work. You can't just sit and just listen to me talk all day and then not do anything with what I teach you. You're ready to do the work, but you don't want to do it alone. So how does it actually work? So here's what happens when you join. As soon as you enroll, you're going to get an email. You'll get instant access to the Fully Booked Business Club Vault. You'll log in, you get your own password and login and password. You'll log in. You'll get an invitation to the private Facebook community. You'll get to come in and introduce yourself. All your onboarding details and upcoming call schedule will be given to you. We created like a one-pager like checklist, like schedule these calls, schedule this workshop, schedule this workshop. And if you join today, you're spot on the one-to-one strategy call with me also. You'll get that. So the overall value of the program is well over $20,000. The investment for the program for the entire year is $2,500. But we have some payment plans for all of you because I know all of you are in different positions in your business. So there's a pay in full, which includes that contract bundle, which is $497. Anybody who's able to do it, that's the one that they choose, but I do know that that's not available for everyone. So we have a 2-pay, a 4-pay, a 6-pay, and we're offering an 8-pay option, but that 8-pay option goes away Sunday night. Right? I just want to double check that we have the right date on there. Yes. Sunday night at 10 p.m., the 8-pay goes away. So if you need that 8-pay, you got to get locked in before that goes away on Sunday night. So when you go, you can check your email inbox. You'll see a subject line. It says enrollment is open. You'll click in there. You'll scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. If you need the link, it's yourconciergeacademy.com/FBBC. Will also take you there. You'll scroll to the bottom. You will choose your payment plan. You will agree to the terms and conditions. And then you click the Enroll Me and Unlock My Access. That will trigger it. And within 5 minutes, you will get your email in your inbox. So you'll see a congratulations screen, and then you'll get your the email in the inbox. Okay. So I also want to show you, let me see, I think it's on here. Yeah. So if you have questions, if you have other questions about enrollment, and so we will be sending out some additional information over the course of today and tomorrow and this week. Enrollment closes next Friday. So enrollment opens today. So it's from September 11th through September 19th, next Friday. Enrollment closes at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. If you need the 8-pay option, you have until September 14th, which is Sunday, at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want the bonus strategy call with me, you have to enroll today by 10 p.m. Eastern Time. If you have other questions about enrollment, we also set up an enrollment concierge. It's one of our fully booked and 100K Club alumni. Stacy's in there. She is going to be fielding questions. If you need assistance with enrollment, you have questions about the program, how things work, you can email her. She will be in there. You can email her whenever you need. That'll be available through until we close cart next Friday at 10 p.m. I want to also show you a second. I want to also show you, I have to make me small. Oh, no, do not do that, Kelly Schaefer. Hold on, let me pull up the, I'm going to move us a second so I can pull this up. Okay. So I'm going to share this with you also. We also sent this out in one of our pre-enrollment, especially if you were on the wait list, we sent this out last week. This is a breakdown. It's the program guide. Again, it's more of like a program at a glance. So you see what is part of your year with us. The weekly coaching calls, the monthly workshop calls. We also have, which was not on the slide deck, is our quarterly Get Shit Done days. They happen the first Tuesday of the month, once per quarter. So our next one is November 4th. We come together for 2 hours and we work collectively as a group, and you are working on your marketing. You bring 2 business growth projects that you're working on, marketing, money, sales related, and we tackle them. It's like co-working session. It's one of our members, one of their favorite bonus perks are our Get Shit Done days. Because we know life's, and sometimes it's hard to like sit down and do the work. And so we have those carved out and we do them as a group inside Fully Booked once a quarter. So that next one is November the 4th. We also have, you have access to the training hub. We have a Facebook group. You also have a private Voxer channel with me that I do right now. We are doing over the course of 9 weeks. It's a little app on your phone. It's completely free. Once a week on Mondays, I'm sending a message out to the community, and it's usually something mindset related or rah-rah, you can do this related. We just started this past Monday we are going through a book that is called, are we doing E Squared? E Squared. Yeah, I think we're doing E Squared. And we just did week 1. And so I'm going through each chapter and highlighting what it is. And I'm doing it as like a voice recording for everyone. It's just a fun bonus perk to keep us connected in between calls. The contract bundle is your pay in full bonus. Our online business planning retreat, which is January 5th. There's also inside the program is your pricing one sheet, and we have a 90-minute live pricing course. There's a pricing module inside the program that when you unlock it, I think it's broken down into like 7 parts the different types of different ways to price, and then also everything that you need to know about billing. It's all in there laid out for you. And then we have a workshop there when we all come together and work on our pricing one sheets together. Then you have the ticket to attend the fully booked live experience. You do not have to attend, but it's there for you if you want to attend. I also we've created a resource guide as well that goes over the components as well as the modules. And even for some of you, I know some of you are like, well, I'm just getting started. Where do I start? And we have a 4-part quick start that's inside the program, and you will start with that quick start. Plus, when you log in, there is you'll log in and it says start here, and you'll just follow where it says start here. So we are coming to the top of our time together. Does anybody I want to answer any questions about the program and enrollment and what you need, and any questions that you have about the program. I'm going to show you this. You can put those down in that Q&A. The in-person training is located in Bucks County, PA. It is, if you're not familiar with Bucks County, you can put in Lahaska, or you can put in New Hope. New Hope is kind of close. We're actually going to be at what's called Peddler's Village, which is about 18 minutes, 19 minutes from my house. So that's where that is going to be. That's on October 23rd. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions about that? I know the questions that we often get is, what if I can't attend all the calls live? We send out reminders a reminder email goes out before every live call. Call replays are sent out after every call, every training, every call. We do a wrap-up email on Friday that goes out to both of our communities, Fully Booked and 100K Club, with upcoming call dates, reminders, as well as any new resources that were dropped, any our replays from that week's open Q&A call. That's a question that also often gets asked. The other one is, will it work for different niches? It works for all different niches. We have people in there that aren't just concierges. We have some realtors in there. We have someone who does Reiki. We have someone who's a death doula. We have downsizing experts, organizers, transportation providers, senior concierges, house managers, all the different niches. In Chile specifically, I have not. So you could be the first one. Fully booked versus 100K. Will person on the email be able to guide me through which one I should do? Yes, Maureen. So I will tell you, 100K Club is you have to be making 40K a year or more to qualify for 100K Club. 100K Club is you are doing marketing, you have consistency of clients, and now you want to scale. And you're going to scale by time, team, and systems. So we're going to find your time leaks, your money leaks, and your systems leaks. We're going to stop doing things that don't work. We're going to systemize everything that we can. We'll put your marketing on autopilot, and then also teach you how to hire, onboard, and bring in right fit team. So that should give you some clarity, Maureen. If you need more than that, though, definitely send an email in. How does the payment plan work? Is it auto pay? And what if I need to update my payment date? Okay, awesome question. Payment plan is, so once you click you choose the payment plan. Let's say you chose the 3 pay. I think there's a 3 pay. Let me just double check. I forget what's on that page. Because I know we added the 8 pay. So it's all the way at the bottom, y'all. Okay. 4 pay. So let's say you choose the 4 payments of $650. You'd make your first payment today, which is $650. You'll get the welcome email, you'll get the confirmation email, you'll get into the hub, you'll get into the program, and then your next payment is due in 30 days. So when you set up and you agree to the terms and conditions, your payments happen every 30 days after your initial payment. Sometimes people need to change a credit card halfway through. If that ever happens, Tanya is in our support desk, support at theconciergeacademy.com. She handles all of those things that need help. Okay, Maureen, thanks. Awesome. Hopefully that was helpful for you. All right. Any other questions about the program enrollment, who it's for? Somebody else already asked me about our next enrollment because they have some things that are happening family wise right now. What I'm going to say to this, I have a two-sided approach to this. Number one is life is always going to life. It's kind of like if you've ever heard people say there's never a right time to have a baby, right? Like when the baby comes. Like you can't plan for it, really. Some people try to plan for it. When you have a business, life is always going to life because that business is now another part of your life. So there's never going to feel, often there's never going to feel like a right time. Now, if you're someone who is actively going through, I know we have someone who emails every time we launch. She'll probably be watching this replay that she was recently diagnosed. I believe it might be leukemia. I could be mixing it up, but she's always asking me, should I join? And I'm like, I can't tell you if you should join or not. Like, oh, you know that on your inside heart of hearts, right? There are some things in life where the timing might not be right for you. But don't let this isn't the right time for me just be your like default setting, so to speak. Because it's really easy to be like, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, right? Because that's our default, that's our old wiring that does that versus being like, yeah, actually, I'm moving cross country within the next 90 days, and I'm not sure where I'm setting up yet. So that might be a reason to wait until next enrollment. Awesome. Another question that I get a lot is about pricing and how to do that. So again, there is a whole module. There's a module inside, and I can show you right here what it looks like. So some of you might have the starter kit. So you know what the inside the hub looks like, but it will look different because, let me move this over here, because this is now the fully booked program, right? So you come in, you log in, you'll hit the start here. You'll click here. Here's our onboarding checklist. This is the guide. This is your resources. Here's our group standards. Then we have the weekly huddle process, which is really important. The scorecard, which is where you'll measure and track things, revenue reporting days, our get shit done days, how they work. If you are starting your business and you're building your business and you're working full time, or you're raising kids, or you're caring for aging parents or adults, we have a bonus course in there for you to help you with time management and also knowing like where to put your time and focus, because maybe you have 4 hours a week to devote to your business versus 30 hours a week to devote to your business. We help you navigate that. We also have a crap ton of additional resources in here. Like I mentioned before, anything I've ever really created for my business, you have access to. If you're brand new and you're still like trying to field around about your services and your niche and trying to get clear on that, you start here with the Quick Start program. You'll go through that. That's just 4 parts. You can knock that out in a weekend. We have the call schedule is listed here, more program resources. And now here's the core curriculum that the networking, right? We talked about networking, how to keep in touch, organic referrals, websites, speaking, for those of you who bring speaking in later on, social media, pricing, everything you need to know about pricing is in here, including billing, including pricing for seniors, which is a little bit different. Then general pricing. And if you have a senior concierge business, this is taking the marketing that you're learning and really getting specific for your senior concierge business. Email marketing, this was a new one we created this year. That's in there. If you are still working on your insurance, we have lunch and learn resources in there. Gift wrapping events that you can host. We have some bonuses in there. There's a bunch of other bonus workshops. All the call recordings, you'll see this is where you would click to go and catch your recordings right here. You also have a search bar. So if you're looking for things like pricing or vendors or marketing or social media, you put it in the search bar and that will also bring up items for you. Okay. All right. All right. Any other questions that we have about the program? Otherwise, we're going to get ready to wrap up. What is everybody's big takeaway? What's your big takeaway? I'd love for you to put that down in the Q&A. And then who's thinking about joining us? Let me know who's thinking about joining us. I know Tanya said she got a couple emails in already. Some more questions. All right. Okay, so last call. Any other questions about the program? Who's thinking about joining us? And what's your takeaway? Maureen, takeaway, meeting with people and showing my personality is key. Yep, absolutely. Allison, I'm really wanting to do this, just really afraid to spend money I don't have and may need for basics. Yeah, that is a real consideration. So here's what I'll say to that. You have to make the decision for yourself. And you may have emailed in already, Allison, if I think. If I remember that you're the person that had emailed in talking about wanting to do this and not making right. I'm going to tell you, it's very normal to start your business, think you got things all running, things aren't going right, you're not making any money, and then here comes Kelly Schaefer and she's like, come join my program, it's only $2,500, right? I mean, let's be honest about it, right? That's what it can feel like. And what I'm telling you also is that when you join, I will help you do what you need to do to get clients faster. So when I invest in something, whether it's a software or when I hired my first assistant or my admin or a coaching program or a course on something, I always tell myself, I make a pact with myself. I say, self, I'm about to make this investment and I want to 10x this investment within the next 6 months, or I want to 10x this investment within the next 9 months. So you come in to the program and tell yourself, I am going to 10x this investment within the next 6 months, and then we get to work. Patricia, should we be concerned with inflation or recession when starting this business? Okay, so I started my business in 2010 when we were in a full-on recession. I had members, we haven't had like a full look. Let's be truthful. Is there inflation? Is there word of recession over and over again? Yes, there is. And we can either live in that fear, or we can live in, I'm going to do everything that I can to get my business to work. So a lot of times too, people will come in and they will think that they need like 100 clients. I did too. I think like one of my first goals was like, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm serving 100 clients. I don't know what the hell I was thinking about. It was my lack of reality of what it takes of running a business, thinking that I was going to have 100 clients. You can have, I have somebody in 100K club right now she's making, she's made 88K in the past year. She's on track for 100 this year, and she's working with 5 clients. That's it. So, is there a reality of recession? Yes. Is there a reality of inflation? Yes. Is there a reality that our world is in a bit of a shitstorm right now? Yes. And is there also 5 really good, amazing people who could use your services right now that could help you make $100,000 in a year? Yes. So we can believe one thing and we can also believe something else. So I love that question because it is. That's what we're, right? We're indoctrinated to only see all the negative, the bad, the fear, right? So if we go back in 2020, when it was literally COVID, people were shutting down their businesses. People who had businesses could not go into clients' homes. We physically were not allowed. I had people enroll in April of 2020 when we physically couldn't leave our houses. We found ways around it. Some of us got written permission from our local senators. We went out and we did the work anyway. And the people who enrolled that year, all within that first year, made over 50K in 1 year while we started the year out in lockdown. So anything is possible. You do have to do the work. Okay, let's see. What else I got here? Awesome. All right, Javier, I will see you when you are ready, my friend. Helen, okay, you're interested in joining. Your takeaway is the 3 story types. Yeah, totally. And it's not just it's the 3 story types, right? So that's your big takeaway from today. And then it's like, then what do we do with those stories? We need to write them. We're going to use them. Where do we use them? How do we use them? How do we use them to generate referrals? How do we use them to actually attract the right fit clients? What are the right fit clients? How are we going to tie the right fit clients into those stories so that we are getting the clients that we want versus getting the clients that we don't? I don't want to say that we don't want, but again, maybe you want clients that are consistent, that are regular, that want your help like once a week, 4 hours a day, once a week, versus 2 times a month, or just call you and use your services once, or you keep getting calls for people to like drive people places, but that's not the service you really want to offer. You really want to be like sitting and baking cookies and having conversations and taking people to get their hair done, and so all of that is actually marketing. And that's why I get the more clarity we have, which is why we spend time on this inside the program, through the modules, through the working, through the workbook, as well as in our live Q&A, which is why there's weekly Q&A, right? So it's like you have the course, right? The course, so you listen to it, you can binge it, you can go through one piece at a time. I have my rationale of how I do it, and I show you how I attack it inside the Start Here module. I show you how I attack the process. We also have an onboarding call that is going to be on a welcome onboarding call on September, I think it's 23rd, September 23rd. So everybody who's new, plus our already existing clients, we're going to come together and we'll go through and we'll answer any other questions that you have about using the materials, using the platform, all of it. But you watch the trainings, then you go and you do the things, right? You'll write your story, you'll use your story, and you'll come back on a live Q&A and you'll say, hey, I don't know what to do with this story now, or I used it here and nothing happened, or I'm networking, but I'm not getting any results. What do I have to change? That's why we have weekly Q&A. So you're never more than like 6 days, 7 days away from getting answers to some of the questions that you have. Because real life, like you don't get results until you start doing things. And then you will have results that you'll then be like, oh, how do I do this? It's just like cooking a new recipe, right? You jump in the kitchen, most of the time we want a recipe. We want to follow the recipe. And then after we've made the recipe a couple times, maybe you're like, oh, but mine turned out too thin. What did I didn't do something right. Can you tell me how to thicken it? Can you tell me why it was too salty? Or then you get help, and this is why it's got to be thickened. I'm crocheting right now, which is so weird to say, and I get stuck at a certain point. I have to put it down, and then I sign up for a class. I go back to the crochet lady, and I'm like, show me how to do this, and she'll show me how to do it, and I'll start going through again and through again and through again, and I think I got it down, and then I'll be like, crap, I forget how to do this one stitch. Go back, help me again, right? So that's how all that works. Um, Yvonne enjoyed the session. Yeah, so you enjoyed the session. So imagine this for an entire year. But this is like the high level. We're going to get into the nitty gritty. Money's always going to be a fear. We are ingrained with money being a fear. Even if you have money, spending money is always a fear. Um, let's see. So Allison, Yvonne. Pierre, Maureen, thinking about joining too because I launched July 2024 super easily and was fully booked first month, but had to dismiss main clients and now don't know how to narrow focus niche. Yes, yes. I had two main clients, one a high net worth exec and one a senior. Yeah. So Maureen, this is something we can totally work on inside the program where I can give you some, we can talk it through, we can work through it, where you were, what was working, what stopped working, where you need to pivot. This is all what the whole year, it's a year of trial and error, figuring things out and getting results. All right, let's see. Okay. All right, my friends. So I'm going to wrap. We went for 2 full hours. If you have more questions, please, please, please consider emailing in, ask your questions. If you're like, if you already feel it in your bones and you're like, I know I want to do this, trust your intuition. If your intuition is like, this girl is a hot mess, I don't want to be anywhere near her, trust that too. But if your intuition is also like, I really feel like this is for me, this is exactly what I needed right now. I've been praying to God or source or the angels for help, for support. This is sometimes what that support looks like. Now you take the leap of faith for yourself, which is really hard, especially when you're not making money yet or you're not making a lot of money. But then we're going to turn that investment in tenfold. All right, friends. Thank you for being here with me today. And I look forward to working with you all, some of you, hopefully, inside Fully Booked Business Club for our next year together. All right, friends. Bye.